With the launch of Google+, CMOs finally have the opportunity to reach people across bought, earned, and owned media in a way that they have not been able to before. Think about it this way. Google+ is a social network to an extent, but it's not constructed as a social destination site. What it is it's the beginning of creating a social layer for the web.
Google's always looked for new data and ways to organize the web and stuff like that to provide meaningful results. It started with PageRank originally, and as they've added to their algorithms, increasingly looking for more and more data to help drive better results.
Really what this means is that the identity that a person creates on Google+ can persist throughout all the other Google services and to the wider web to an extent.
The implications for social data or social connectivity being embedded into things like YouTube or search means that those channels become much more customized, and marketers are going to have to take a much more focused and customized approach to how they do search marketing, how they program content for YouTube, and how they interact with those communities, and how they nurture and develop those audiences.
So imagine this. A brand with a Google+ page puts a +1 button on their display advertising. Consumer logged into Google with that identity hits the +1 button when they go to that ad. That broadcasts it through their own Google+ profile to their social graph, and people in their community instantly know that they think that this ad is interesting, that they think this brand is interesting.
It means if you're not participating with a plus page, there's a chance that Google might give credit to someone else for writing your content, especially in the organic results, because as we see, there's certain markup that Google's playing around with and experimenting right now that attributes who wrote what to certain either individuals or now with the brand launch of plus pages, brands. And so if you are not there, someone else could theoretically say, hey, no, I wrote that. And so that's something they definitely don't want to miss out on.
There are a number of features which empower marketers to engage pretty deeply with their consumers. There are Hangouts, which means that they can have small groups of video chats with influencers that they bring into their brand or on a customer service level. They can also use it for real-time focus groups, get feedback on a product or on an advertising campaign or on a new messaging or just have a chat with small groups of consumers.
So Ripples is a tool right now that they launched recently that allows you to see who shared your post and how, as long as it's public, and where and who's shared it to their circles and stuff like that. So a brand might say, oh, I shared it here, and oh, these key influencers in these markets, they also shared it, and so you can kind of track who said what a little bit better with certain posts.
So how do marketers get started? The first thing that marketers should do is assess your current social media practices. Are you following engagement best practices in general? Are you optimizing what you're doing in social for engagement and search? And then apply that to Google+ specifically.
I think one of the risks in not at least testing and learning from Google+, and again looking at the broader picture of how social is going to impact search and content and even their own websites, I think the risk there is not being able to capitalize on reaching audiences at what Google calls the zero moment of truth. Reaching audiences where they are in the moment that they are ready to engage.
Just have a plan. I mean, similar to Facebook or Twitter, have an escalation plan. You start seeing someone on there saying something about your brand, make sure whoever's controlling your Google+ page knows what they're doing.
So again, much in the same way that CMOs had to start paying attention to digital and building websites, and then paying attention to search and how their brand became found online. And with mobile increasingly having to pay attention to how people access and use the web, paying attention to what's happening in the social landscape is just as critical as any of those other milestones in marketing.